Hi everybody, in this video we're going to learn how to find probabilities involving the normal distribution as well as boundaries for any proportions or probabilities in the normal distribution with Rguroo instead of the TI calculator. So in the TI calculator we've been using Normalcdf function and the InvNorm function, so we're going to do the same thing but with Rguroo. And then you can use either one. So here I have some examples pulled up on the screen that we did in an earlier video with the TI calculator. We're going to do the same ones and get the same answers with the Rguroo. So it says cherry trees in a certain orchard have heights that are normally distributed with a mean mu equals 112 inches and standard deviation sigma equals 14 inches. What proportion of trees are more than 120 inches tall? So we need to find a proportion. Normally we'll do Normalcdf for that, so we're doing more than 120 inches tall, and just remember that the mean is 112 and the standard deviation is 14. So in Rguroo you're going to go to probability simulation, and in the probability drop down you're going to choose probability calculator. In the past we've chosen discrete, but this time we're going to choose continuous. And the distribution listed in the middle of the box should say normal. If it doesn't, click on it and change it to normal. All right, so because we're trying to find a proportion, remember the area under the curve represents both proportion and probability. So we have values equal probability. That's what we want to do. Okay, so we're going to put in our mean, which was 112, I believe. Yes, and our standard deviation goes here. That was 14. Yep. And we want to know the proportion that is more than 120. So we're going to click on more or above 120. And then you can just hit the preview button to see the calculation, but I think it's better to see the graph with it. So I'm going to click graph and then preview. And so then we can see that it is graphing the area above 120 in the curve. So you can see this yellowish orange shaded region. This is the probability that we just found above 120. And if you look up here, it would be 0.2839. If we go back to the answer key to 0.2839. So same thing we got with Normalcdf. The second one said, what is the probability that a randomly chosen tree is either less than 100 or more than 100? So we had to find the area in the middle and then subtract that from 1. But check out Rguroo. So we want less than 100 but more than 125. So we'll go back to basics. And we're going to do the outside of the lower tail is 100 and the upper tail is 125. So outside of 100 and 125. Just make sure. Yeah. So preview. You can see it's shaded below 100, above 125. We get 0.3722. Same thing we got there, but this was actually a little bit more user-friendly because it gave us the option for outside. So normally we have to figure out the between and then subtract that from 1 and figure out, basically the complement. So you don't have to do that here. So that's nice. I'm going to pause for one moment and plug up my computer. Okay. All right. So let's look at one more. Find the 27th percentile of the tree heights. So 27th percentile, they're actually giving us the percentage of the boundary, and they want us to find that boundary, which is called the 27th percentile. You can see it shaded here. So what we're saying is the area to the left of that vertical line is 27% or 0.27. So for that type of function, you're actually going to click at the top where we were going from values to probability. In this case, they gave us the probability, and we're trying to find a boundary or a value. So it's still a normal distribution. The mean is still 112. The standard deviation is still 14. 27th percentile is area shaded to the left. So we're going to do a lower tail, and in the lower tail, it's 27%, so 0.27. And then check it out. There's 27% shaded, and you get 103.42. Same thing we got with the InvNorm. So a couple more. Let's do, we just did a percentile. Let's do this one. This is for pregnancies, where the mean is 272 days for the length of pregnancy and the standard deviation is 9. Let's do part B. Find the boundary for the upper 25%. So upper would still be InvNorm, or in this case, probabilities to values. And we would be doing the upper tail. So what we're saying is find the boundary for the upper 25%. So upper would be upper tail, and 25% would be 0.25. So we should see shading to the right, which we do. That upward shading is 25%, and the boundary for that is 121.44. Actually, I am wrong. Hopefully you saw what I forgot to do. I forgot to change the mean and the standard deviation to match the pregnancy data. So let's change it to 272. And sorry about that. 9. All right, now it should match up. Let's say we should get 278.07, still 25% shaded at the top, 278.07. And if they told us to do the middle 80%, the middle, you would choose, instead of upper tail or lower tail, you would do between the tails. And now this one, you can't just put in 80% in the middle. So what you have to remember is, I'm just going to show you here, if there's 80 in the middle, that's 20 left over because the whole thing adds up to 100%. So that means 10 on the left, 10 on the right. So you'd put in 10% for the lower tail and 10% for the upper tail. And you would have, if 10 on the bottom, 10 on the top, that leaves 80 in the middle. And you see you have the boundaries of 260.47 and 283.53. Same thing we got with the InvNorms. So that is basically it. You can use this with central limit theorem too. Just remember that whenever you're putting in your standard deviation, it needs to be standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample size. So you may have to calculate that first before you plug that in. All right, so that's all for this little video. I hope that you find that this alternative way of doing it with Rguroo is helpful. Okay, have a great one.